Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for assuming my daughter could have a third plate? Throw away because my sister knows my Reddit and I don't want this causing drama. Yesterday, my sister hosted a family dinner at her house. It was one of those, just because, dinners, no special occasion. My sister is a great cook and she made tons of food for that one night. My daughter was on her second plate by the end of the night. Once she finished, she asked if she could get another one. I said yes. But my sister, her aunt, looked at her with a shocked expression and said, "Another plate?" My daughter turned around and gave a somewhat uncomfortable look. My daughter is 16, and has 2 part-time jobs to pay for some of her college tuition, so she usually doesn't eat until 7 to 8 p.m. So I didn't even blink twice when she got up to grab her third plate. I turned to my sister and said, "She's been working all day without anything to eat. You made tons of food, it won't hurt for her to get another plate." My sister started yelling, saying something about how it wasn't my place to say if my daughter could get more of her food that she made. Now I do somewhat agree with that, and might be the a-hole because of that. Looking back, I'm thinking maybe I should have asked. My daughter ended up not getting another plate, and the vibe was awkward now, so we just decided to go. Before we left out the door, my sister stopped me and told me I should have taught my daughter manners and how it isn't right to get more than one plate at someone else's house. I told my sister she was being ridiculous, and somehow our voices got loud enough where my mom started to hear us in the small corner. She came over and started telling me she agreed with my sister and it was rude for my daughter to eat that many plates. I started to get fed up when they began telling me I wasn't teaching her proper manners, so I left. Then of course they began texting my phone saying how it was rude to leave in the middle of our conversation. I don't think I was the a-hole at all for leaving because I wasn't going to stay in a place where I felt disrespected. But I'm not sure about the plate thing. So am I the a-hole for assuming my daughter could get another plate? Top comments. Had everyone else had a chance to get some food? Also, was the third plate going to finish off the rest of the food? OP replies. Everyone else was pretty much done their meal after the second portion. We all finished at the same time. And no, there was plenty of food left. Thank you for asking. Not the a-hole. Families are often the first place where children get judged. And where they don't feel safe. Your daughter was hungry, coming to a family dinner after working hard because she is courageous. And she can't eat when she is hungry? What kind of aunt or grandmother consider that a 16 years old should stop eating? I don't why, but I have the feeling that if your daughter was a boy, she could have eaten as much as she wanted, because a boy needs food to be tall and strong. Second thing that seems curious, your sister makes a lot of food for those non-special occasions. What for if people can't take more than a plate? Just to show that she makes a lot but not giving a lot to people? If she isn't ready to share what she proposes, she'd better not hosting dinners. Not the a-hole. I frequently host large dinners at our home. If someone grabbed a third plate, I'd fall into an ego coma. I'd be so flattered they liked my food that much. Edited to add. This comment is getting attention from fellow host, S, so I'm dropping my easiest recipe to make for a ton of people: pulled pork. 1 pork shoulder / butt, at least 10 pounds. 1 or 2 if you like. Cans of chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. 1 bottle of Angry Orchard or other hard cider. 1 bottle of your preferred barbecue sauce. Lots of garlic, at least 8 to 10 cloves, just smashed. Put that crap in your crock pot until it shreds, usually 12ish hours if bone-in, then watch your loved ones get 3 plates. Not the a-hole based on your additional comments with more info. I didn't see anywhere that this is a repeated occurrence that they've had an issue with and brought up to you. It doesn't seem your daughter was being rude, so why did they snap? If they had been planning to use the leftovers for meals later, I could see them at least saying that and having a reason, but they didn't. Does your daughter by chance struggle with her weight? I've had family behave kind of similar because they just didn't like that I was a fat kid. I know for my hubby and I, if we invite you over, you've got free reign in the kitchen. If we had something we were saving, we'd just tell them, the cake in there is for a special occasion, but everything else is up for grabs, you don't have to ask. OP replies. This has never happened before as far as I know. I plan to ask my daughter when she gets home if her aunt has been saying things like this behind everyone's back or something. My daughter doesn't struggle with weight, the doctors say she's average weight for a 16-year-old girl. Thanks for asking. This is wild. If my niece was at my house and all the food was gone from dinner and she was still hungry, I would be walking her into the pantry to show her all the snacks, and leave her there to pick what she wanted and help herself. I get that for some people budget doesn't allow this, but no one goes hungry in this house. Ever. This seems more like a control issue from your sister, and you might want to check if she's annoyed at your daughter for something else, or for that matter jealous in some way, because this seems to be lashing out. Just because someone is grown doesn't make them mature, sadly. Not the a-hole. A gracious host doesn't dictate how much guests can eat, particularly if it's not something like a plated dinner party. Daughter is a teen. Who works. Her exec function may not account for making time for breakfast and packing a lunch some days. If she's hungry, let her eat. My teen boy will go for thirds at gatherings, and everyone lovingly talks about the growing boy. I know too many adult women who will eat like a bird at gatherings even though they are starving because they don't want to be judged for eating too much. This is how that starts. Good job Opie for letting your daughter respond to her own hunger cues. Next story. Am I the a-hole for wearing a two-piece to my kids' swimming lessons? I, 27F, am a mother to quadruplets aged 2. This is their first year taking swimming lessons, and, at their age, the lessons require one-on-one with the child/adult as well as an instructor to teach. So me, my husband, and 2 of my husband's friends came along. Unfortunately, all 4 of the kids got booked for the same time. They started the lessons on Monday and ended today, Friday. At the lessons, all the other kids had their mothers/female guardians with them, and all of them wore short/shirt swimsuits. My husband/his friends had trunks with no shirt, and I wore a two-piece. Nothing bad, everything was well covered, but obviously my stomach and back showed. I didn't think it was a big deal, and I honestly didn't even notice what everyone wore until probably Wednesday. And it was fine because everybody, including me, was modest. However, they finished their lessons today. When everyone was getting changed to leave, a few mothers came up to me. They said they didn't want to mention it earlier to make classes awkward, but they and a few other mothers were uncomfortable with how I was wearing a two-piece to the lessons all week. They suggested if I do another class with my kids here, I cover up my stomach because nobody wants to see it because of the stretch marks from my pregnancy. Which is a lot more than average because I had quadruplets. I asked if they had an issue with how my husband/his friends didn't wear a shirt at all, and they said they didn't care because they didn't have the baby belly like I did. Now I'm back home, and I can't decide if they were being rude or just were honest. They made sure to tell me it wasn't about the modesty, it was just my stomach. I never thought about it, so maybe it's my fault for being careless and not thinking of everyone else. My husband says I was fine, but all the mothers there apparently don't think so. Am I the a-hole? Edit, I did not expect this to blow up so much. I'm so thankful to all the kind comments. I've spent 20 minutes reading and upvoting, there's just so many LOL. This has made me feel much better about the situation. Fortunately, or unfortunately, this isn't our usual pool and we're done lessons until next year, so I won't have the chance to say anything you suggested to those people. Top comments. Not the a-hole, of course they were being rude. Does everyone have an obligation to cover every body part that is different/damaged/unusual? We were really uncomfortable seeing your burn scars and your face, so wear a burqa, balaclava, or stay home. Think of the children. We know not everyone wears dark sunglasses or eye patches, but being blind, your eyes are kinda creepy looking and it bothers me. Thanks. Yeah, being fat while taking your 2-year-old swimming, it just makes me feel icky because I'm scared of becoming fat, and even if you wear a prison jumpsuit swimming, I can see your double chin and hand dimples and they're icky, so please dispose of your body at your earliest convenience. Thanks. Their rudeness and entitlement is grosser than any stretch marks. People have stuff happen to their bodies, that doesn't obligate them to hide their bodies. Edit, I just wanted to add, sometimes feelings of discomfort are real, not stretch marks, but some people really do smell terrible despite taking normal precautions or can't contain all their fluids or have had scary crap happen that can be deduced from their injuries. But it's not like they left their good body at home so it wouldn't get worn out and brought the ugly one and need reminders about the acceptable dress code. When people have suffered, don't be an a-hole and add to that suffering by also making them feel bad. The feeling of being uncomfortable by someone's body belongs to the feeler and they need to act responsibly with it. I swear mothers are mothers' worst enemies, sometimes. Not the a-hole. You've had 4 babies, damn, good luck moving forward, Opie, that has to be scary at times. Your body is the way it is because it carried them, and I'm glad that shame didn't occur to you, or at least not prior to these women feeling entitled to telling you to hide. There is no reason to cover stretch marks, they're not inappropriate at all, but particularly not when they tell a story of epic motherhood. Keep wearing whatever you want. Let these women desperately try to airbrush their own bodies IRL if that's what makes them comfortable, but they're not entitled to trying to extend their own issues to you. I've worked in aquatics, and I'd report this to the pool/facility manager and have them speak to the moms. No one who runs a pool wants patrons body shaming one another. It's way out of line. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my parents out financially because they only help my siblings and never me? I'm 30M, the oldest of 5, and my siblings are 28F, 27M, 25M and 23F. Our parents were always generous with giving money when asked for it, except when it was me. I was told I should learn to work hard. I was told I didn't need the new video game or toy. I was told earning money was the only way I'd ever have money and I hadn't earned money from them. But my siblings could get whatever they wanted. When I first graduated college, I ended up struggling financially because where I went to work, the cost of apartments were so high. I asked my parents if they could help me out and they said no. I ended up in a shelter for a few weeks and then rented a dump of an apartment with a friend who found himself in the same situation. They not only helped my siblings through college, which they didn't do for me, but they gave each of them lump sums after they graduated to help them get started in life. They also helped them out when asked over the years. During COVID years especially. They didn't offer any money to help toward mine and my wife's wedding. We didn't ask. But it stood out more when my sister, 28F, got engaged and our parents had mentioned money for all the weddings. Again, it was all except for mine. Only now this has all caught up with them and they are in a very tight spot with money. They're asking me for money too. They told me they need mine and my wife's, help and we should do it because of how great they have been and they never say no to any of us. I told them they never helped me with crap. That they preferred to see me homeless rather than help me out. They argued back that it never happened and I could have asked if things were that bad. I showed them screenshots of texts where I had brought the topic up after asking them verbally. My parents dismissed it and then told me they're still my parents and I'm the most settled and I could afford to help them. I admitted that I could. But I didn't feel they had earned it. My parents called me spiteful and said I should help my parents rather than see them lose everything. I told them to ask the kids who they helped. My siblings were also pissed I said no. They told me mom and dad don't deserve my pettiness. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole for wanting to set boundaries, especially if you feel like the financial support isn't being given fairly. It's understandable to be frustrated if you're consistently left out while your siblings get help. You have every right to stand up for yourself and prioritize your own needs. Maybe have a candid conversation with your parents about how their actions are affecting you and your willingness to support them. Opie replies. A candid conversation with them is a waste of time after everything. I have made many attempts to speak to them about the disparity in treatment between my siblings and me. They only hear what they want to when it comes up. Like how they conveniently forgot about me asking for money when I had nowhere else to go. Not the a-hole. I told them they never helped me with crap. That they preferred to see me homeless rather than help me out. They argued back that it never happened and I could have asked if things were that bad. I showed them screenshots of texts where I had brought the topic up after asking them verbally. I'm puzzled by this. I wonder if you were also the family scapegoat. Whatever the reason, kudos for achieving what you have despite the hardship you went through. My siblings were also pissed I said no. They told me mom and dad don't deserve my pettiness. It isn't pettiness though, is it? You're just declining to use the resources you got through your own efforts. Your siblings can reciprocate what your parents did for them. Hey mom and dad, how about all of us kids help by giving you back all the money you spent on weddings and graduation gifts, so that's $0 from me, time to ask the others. Not the a-hole. You're the black sheep, expected to pick up the pieces for everybody else, but nothing is ever reciprocated or appreciated. My parents literally had me driving them around to help my sister find her second house while I was homeless when my ex changed the locks on our co-owned home. They paid for her divorce attorney and wouldn't help me get winter clothes. Hung up on me when a mechanic ripped me off with 5 vehicles on their driveway. The stress of my separation and divorce has led to 100+ hospitalizations / ER visits. Not a call, visit, etc. Nothing. Then, I got cursed out for not driving 2 hours to visit them when they were in the hospital. My mother has literally thrown hospital trays at me when I did visit. So, you can help but it won't be appreciated or reciprocated. My parents were wealthy so I didn't have that kind of pressure, but I totally get the one-sidedness problem you're facing. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to do a favor / help my brother with an element of his wedding which I already said I won't be attending? My brother is marrying someone who made my life hell for through our entire teens. Started age 12 and continued into college. Unfortunately we were in the same one. She was like 20 before she stopped bullying me. And she went out of her way to do it in college too. Going as far as almost stalking me over it. She almost got thrown out of college, which might have been what stopped her in the end. I was able to avoid her for the rest of college and didn't see her again for a few more years. My brother is a year older and knew all about the stuff she put me through, as did our parents. So when he brought this girl home as his girlfriend a couple of years ago, I was so hurt. My sister asked him what he was thinking and how could he do that to me. He said she grew up and that's allowed and we should be willing to give her a shot. I walked out. My parents and brother were upset at my refusal to give her a chance and asked why I wanted to hurt our family. They said my sister walked out after calling this girl all sorts of names and making it clear she saw her as trash and someone who couldn't be a good person. She also called our brother out for having no family loyalty. My relationship with my brother and parents hardly exists now. I have seen them 4 times since that day. They have reached out via phone, but I made it clear I had no desire to mend things with that girl and I saw it as a betrayal toward me to accept her and expect me to treat her as family. My sister has stood by me. She is also mostly estranged from our parents and brother. The last time I saw them was in June. At a family birthday party. During a quiet moment my brother told me he was getting married and our parents were standing by to jump in. I told him to save himself the money inviting me because I won't be attending and I walked away. So where this issue comes in. The most popular local florist is my best friend's mom. And she's known to have a special package for friends and family for weddings, etc. One piece in particular she only does for people she's close to. My brother and his fiancée want her to be the florist for their wedding and they want the bonuses of the special package. But they don't have a good relationship with her. However, I do. So my brother called me up. I ignored his call. So he sent a text asking me to do a favor and ask about the special package for them. I said no and told him to leave me alone. He reached out again and asked. My parents then got involved. I told them I wanted nothing to do with this wedding and would never help make the day special for them. I was told I had taken all of this too far and a small favor should not be such a big deal. That I am destroying these relationships and will one day regret it over something so small. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole, but it might be worth it to call the florist, if you're close enough, and say you're not referring your brother for any special deal for his wedding if he calls and says you are. If this sheds your brother in a worse light to the florist, it would be a real shame if she decided she couldn't do the flowers for their wedding at all. Just saying. Opie replies. Oh, she knows she'd have to hear it from me. She's aware we're no longer close and wouldn't take his word for it. Have either of these people ever attempted to apologize to you? A real apology, acknowledging, with specifics, the harm and hurt they inflicted on you. It is not a small favor to ask you to use your influence and good reputation to gain special consideration they wouldn't otherwise be entitled to. And that's even without the fact that you have pretty good reasons to refuse doing even small favors for him. Not the a-hole. OP replies. My brother never has. I don't know if she was ever willing to try because I do not speak to her and actively avoid interactions with her. If I watched my child suffer at the hands of a bully for years, I would not begrudge them noping out of the bully's wedding, even if my other child was involved. You deserve support, and it is totally possible to support you and your brother in separate ways without a guilt trip or some emotional manipulation. Not the a-hole. OP replies. Thank you. My sister feels that way, and I'm not her child, and I'm older than her. But she's loyal and loving. I'll never understand how my parents can be so okay with this. They know how much the bullying from my brother's fiancé negatively impacted my teens and even my schoolwork. Not the a-hole. Yes, people can change, maybe she has. But she is still your bully, someone who tormented you for many years. You are well within your rights to tell them to F off. On a side note, your sister sounds like a good one. Cherish her and show her how much her support and understanding mean to you. OP replies. My sister is amazing and I'm so thankful for her. She knows how much I love and appreciate her too. We were always close, but even closer now that it's the two of us apart from our parents and brother. Maybe a bonkers thought, but I wonder if she tapped your brother to mess with you. I know, bonkers idea. People can put on a face for so long, and then their true colors start to shine through. Wait for the divorce and tell your brother and parents, I told you. Too cynical. Not the a-hole. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.